What's up, Habs Nation? S2H back in action once again, and the Montreal Canadiens take Game 6, 3-2, back-to-back overtime wins for the Habs after giving up a lead in back-to-back games, a 3-goal lead in the last game, a 2-goal lead in this game, but it doesn't matter because the end result is the Montreal Canadiens win. Now, in the first and second period, there wasn't a ton of scoring, but I would like to talk a lot about the first 10 minutes of the first period, because the Habs team we've seen in the first 10 minutes of the first period gave Toronto fits. They outshot Toronto 10-3. They had a bunch of high quality scoring chances. After that, it was a lot of back and forth in the end of the first period. Cole Caulfield had a really nice chance where he got a pass in on the side. He came in on the side of Campbell. Very, very sharp angle shot. Put it off the crossbar just over Campbell's shoulder. But you can see the snipe job that this kid has. But in the first period, there wasn't any scoring. It was just back and forth hockey. I'm not going to bore you guys talking about defensive plays, things that happened behind the net. But Carey Price, when he was needed to be, he was solid. Jack Campbell kept the Leafs in that first period. He made some amazing saves in the first period. The way Campbell was playing, all I could think in my head was if the Leafs get the first goal, they give this guy some confidence, he's going to get a shutout. The Habs need to get to the Leafs first. Now, in the second period, the Leafs dominated the tempo of the play. They got more shots on Price. They got around our defense more. They were able to cycle the puck around. Nylander was doing his thing. Marner had some nice chances. Overall, I really liked how the Danault line contained Matthews, but Marner and Nylander definitely had some nice chances. Their depth players like Spezza had some nice chances as well. But when Price was needed, Price was there. He was absolutely solid in the second period. Habs had some nice chances themselves. But we'll go right into this wild third period, this amazing third period, and the overtime that happened afterwards that really had me on the edge of my seat. I had so much anxiety in overtime. I thought for sure the Leafs were going to score, but they could not pull it off. But in the third period, it's a lot of back and forth hockey for the first 5 minutes. Around 14 and a half minutes into the third period, with 14 and a half minutes left in the third period, I believe it's William Nylander takes a penalty on Carey Price. He's backing into the goalie. He crashes into Price. You can't do that to Price, especially with this guy's history where he was injured by Chris Kreider before. Refs are going to call that all day. Totally unnecessary penalty by Nylander, but it helped the Habs out a ton. And the Habs get their first power play goal in over 15 attempts this playoffs. They've been a goose egg on the board when it comes to power plays. And who scores the gritty power play goal? Corey Perry. Tyler Toffoli's in front of the net. I can't remember who puts it on the net, but there's a puck out front. Toffoli is kind of screening Campbell a bit, but Campbell isn't doing anything. He's laying on the ground. He isn't attempting to get back up right away. He isn't fighting and scrambling for the puck. He almost looks like a fish out of water. There's a puck right loose in front of the net. And who's there in front of that net? That net front presence, that gritty grinder, that vet. Corey Perry buries it, the Habs' first power play, but Sheldon Keefe didn't like what he seen with the Toffoli screen. He didn't like what he seen with Toffoli standing in front of Campbell. If Campbell had to be more active, maybe this would have been a goaltender interference, but it didn't get called back. The Leafs get another power play, or the Leafs get another penalty. The Habs get a power play. Mitch Marner, I don't know what he was thinking, 19 seconds into the power play, from one end of the ice almost to the other, throws it over the boards, over the Toronto bench, over the stanchion. Like, no chance right there. Obvious penalty. Mitch Marner goes to the penalty box. And who scores once again? Tyler, well, I should say, first time in the playoffs, but once again this season for the Habs, because he's been scoring goals all season for the Habs. Tyler Toffoli gets his first goal of the season on the power play, 5-on-3. The Habs go up 2-0. After that, Nick Suzuki almost scores again when they were on the remaining power play, the 5-on-4. Nick Suzuki almost scores again. But it's looking like the Habs are going to win this game. With around 10 minutes left, what happens? Jason Spezza gets the puck on his stick in front of the net. He gets a chippy goal over Price's shoulder. It was a nice little goal by Spezza. It kind of came out of nowhere. It was kind of unexpected. At that point, all they need to do is shut it down. Hold it down. Be solid in front of Price. Don't make any mistakes. And what does Jeff Petrie do? Immediately, like 4 or 5 minutes after that, with like 5 minutes left in the game, makes a mistake. Gets in front of Price. Price can't properly see the puck anyways. I think he was kind of screening Price. TJ Brody takes not even a hard slap shot. Like, that was weak. If Price had seen that or it didn't deflect off Petrie, he would have had that all day. It bounces off Jeff Petrie's leg, goes over Price's shoulder, and the Leafs tie the game. And at that point, Habs Nation, everybody in the building is silent. I'm having an anxiety attack. I'm watching the Steve Dangle podcast at the same time, flicking back and forth. He's jumping off his chair. He's convinced the Leafs are going to come back. The overtime intermission was probably the longest intermission of my existence. I barely slept all night just thinking about that overtime intermission. It was haunting me. In my head, I was picturing so many scenarios of how the Leafs were going to win this game. Nylander's going to come in on an amazing breakaway score. Matthews is going to get some crazy spin around him. Something's going to happen. Price is going to get fooled somehow. But boy, was I wrong. Carey Price makes over 10 saves in overtime, flashes the glove 5 or 6 times, and the Habs only need one opportunity because they didn't get many in this overtime. They were heavily outshot in this overtime. I don't know what the exact shot total was, but they were heavily outshot in this overtime. But the kids step up once again. Who scored the overtime winner last game? Our young star center, Nick Suzuki. Who scores the overtime winner in this game? Our young up-and-comer, 20-year-old center playing awesome in the series. Third goal of the series in only 5 games after being benched for the first game. Jesperi Kotkaniemi scores the game winner in overtime. Travis Dermott makes a turnover. Paul Byron kicks it up. Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Kotkaniemi makes a snipe job on Campbell. It did kind of hit off Bogosian a little bit. Bogosian just slightly deflected it, and that's all you need against an NHL caliber goalie. You need that slight deflection. And the Habs win the game 3-2, forcing Game 7, going up against the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto. All the pressure's on Toronto. We know what kind of choke jobs these guys have pulled before. Whether the Habs pull it off or not, guys, I'm super proud of this young team. No one was expecting them to do this. You look at Sportsnet's analysts, every single one of them picked Montreal to lose, whether it was in 4, 5, 6, or 7. Every single one of them picked Montreal to lose. Craig Button said the Habs wouldn't win a game. That's how far Craig Button went with it. He said the Habs wouldn't win a game. And here we are going into Toronto with all the momentum, 2 overtime wins in a row, going into Game 7, and we can take the series. And we know what Carey Price is like in Game 7. So I got a lot of hope for this Game 7. Let's go Habs. Now let's talk a little bit about last night's totals. Toronto outshot Montreal 43-31, but of course the Habs were the more physical, bigger, bruising team. We had the Habs out hit Toronto 44-27. Habs need to clean it up in the face-off dot. Deneau did a good job last night, but overall, Toronto was 52% in the face-off dot. Toronto's power play was 0 for 4. Montreal's power play 2 for 4. So the Habs power play is getting it going. And then we go into the goalie stats. Finally, Carey Price, he's been outplaying Jack Campbell in certain games, but overall, it seems like Jack Campbell has a better save percentage and better goals against every game. Not in this game. Price had a .95 for his save percentage. He stopped 41 of 43 shots. Campbell had a .903 save percentage, which is bad for him. I'm sure that's going to get to this guy's head, because there's one thing I can tell about Campbell. He's an emotional goalie, and he only stopped 28 of 31. He don't like letting in 3 goals. I know that much about Campbell, and the Habs are getting to him. Let's go to Game 7. Let's get this job done. Let's root this team on, whether it's from your couch. We're obviously not going to be at the arena. Let's all, wherever you're to, in a bar, wherever you're to, root this team on to the end. Go Habs go, baby. I'm absolutely pumped. I can barely get the words out of my mouth. Carey Price in Game 7. Cole Caulfield in Game 7. Let's get the job done. Go Habs go, baby. Woo!